Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Gamefromscratch, and today we're going to be looking at not one, not two, but 14 different add-ons for the Godot game engine. Well, technically, we're not going to look at all of them, but I'm going to show you a repository of 14 add-ons for Godot. These all come to us courtesy of Cozy Cube Games. They are all released under the MIT license. As you can see, they are updated quite frequently, and we've got a wide plethora of topics being covered here. Some of these add new nodes to Godot. Some of them extend the editor itself. There's a few of these that actually probably couldn't live without once you get used to them. So we're going to jump in and take a look. If you want to go ahead, go to the Cozy Cubes repository. I will have the link in the linked article down below. If you do like what he's doing here, by the way, drop him a star. So you can see here, we've got 14 different add-ons here. Very little documentation, by the way. But we've got area lights, control proxies, doodle texture, editor relays, gizmo presets, light shafts, lines and trails 3D, manual multi-mesh, 9-patch mesh, parallel scene views, preview 2D, procedural texture baker, tile path 3D, and transform clusters. And I think this one was literally just added after I started looking at these. So there are a ton of these add-ons. They're all implemented entirely via GDScript. And you want to go ahead and check this one out. What you do, basically, just clone the repository right here. And what we're going to do is head on over to our project. So right over here, I've already created it. So here, you'll see I have plugged up for my plugins. And then what we're just going to do is a git clone and then paste. So this is going to bring down the Cozy Cube Godot add-on. So what we actually want to do, though, is rename Cozy Cube to just add-ons. All right, so now we have a folder here called add-ons, and inside of add-ons, you will see we have all of those add-ons we just talked about. So we already got our project loaded up right here. So now it's going to bring all of those add-ons in. Now, what you'll notice here, if I go to the project settings, plugins, you're going to see one of them is missing. And as you see, when I bring the list up side by side, what we are missing here is Gizmo Presets. And that's actually one of my favorites. So I'm going to show you what is wrong with that one. Hopefully the author sees this and fixes that up. Very simple fix though. So we're going to go into the add-ons folder right here. We will go to Gizmo Presets right here, and then you're going to notice the plugin configuration. All that he's done is he's got non-escaped characters in here. So you can see he's got coded gizmos and Godot here. So what we're going to do is change this description to this one works. And then we'll just save that like so. And then we'll just do a quick reload of our project, just thoroughness. So here we go. This should have then all of the assets available. Pretty simple. So we'll go here, project settings, plugins, and now you're going to see Gizmos is there as well. So we're just going to go ahead and quickly enable all of these. Again, I'm not going to show you every single one of these in action, but I am going to show you quite a few of them. All right, so here we go. They're all enabled. Let's close that out. So let's head on back over here. And what you're going to notice here is we have a couple of new options here. But my favorite one here is actually that new gizmo thing, because I find myself turning gizmos on and off all the time, and it's really irritating. So if you go to the view menu, gizmos here. So if you want to have it so that, you know, sometimes you don't want to display polygon shapes, like the shapes, the collision shapes, or so on and so forth. So what you do is you come in here and you go, okay, I don't want that one. I don't want decals, I don't want to show lights, I don't want to show navigation regions, I don't want to show this, and I don't want to show these three. All right, so what you can now do, you'll notice there's this new menu down here, and what I can do is say, okay, save these presets, and then save them under a name, like so, and done. So now we've got, if I go here, you'll look at the gizmos, and you see all of those are turned off. Well, I can go here, you also add this apply presets, so I can turn everything to show, so everything's back on, or I can turn everything to hide, or I can turn everything to X-ray, or what I can do is I can actually go to my preset and have it set to what I used earlier on. This is, again, one of those little quality of life things that I just think is absolutely banger. So I would love to see this get built in, because again, this is something that I use and do quite commonly. I think you may be in the same boat, or at least many of you. Next up, let's show you some of the graphical things we've got going on here. So we've got something like area lights. A lot of these do have, they may not have documentation, but the more visual ones have these sample scenes that show you what's going on. And this one is basically creating an area light. So it's you can create it by adding an area light 3D node to the scene with a light map. It is lighting that will show up after you bake the light map. Nope, the area light 3D doesn't include geometry to represent whatever you're making the light. You can add that yourself. So why would you do this? Usual way to make area lights with light mapping is to use emissive materials. Unfortunately, the results can be very ugly, except at high quality settings, and can appear wrong regardless. If you use more expensive techniques like voxel GI or SDF GI, this is not an issue. So you can tweak the settings in the area light, even fudge its position, so you can see the effects of these area lights in action. And you can create area lights in pretty interesting ways like so. So basically, it's a way of basically doing these fake lights by adding this area light 3D in. It'll show up in baked light mapping. A very cool little add-on there. Next up, we have probably one of the prettiest ones. We got the ability to add light shafts. So let's just go ahead and check out this scene right here. And you're going to see here. So you've got this shaft coming down, this light. So you can see this visible light all in the world right there. Well, that is being done via this light shaft, right? So I could go ahead and I can move it around like so. So if you want to have this volumetric light, now you may be wondering, okay, what is controlling this? Well, first off, we have the light shaft node itself. You see right here, this, so you can come in here, for example, and give it different colors. You see the effects pretty much immediately. And then the other thing you might notice is we've got these sub-controls for the outline and the origin. Well, that is what's controlling this ultimate shape. So we got this hole in our mesh, and then we've got this light outline for the light shaft that's matching it. So let's go take a look. So look at this corner down here where the light's coming in, and let's just grab that one. Let's just move that over and out. So you see how it affects the shape of the light immediately. So if you want to do light shafts in your world, a very simple, straightforward plugin to do so. But again, it just does nice things. Now we have another one here that's a little bit more specialized, a little interesting, but this is actually could be something that you could use quite often, to be honest. So what we have here is the ability to create Doodle Textures. So let's come down here, create a new resource like so. So this is Doodle Texture. I believe they're actually called doodles. So create a Doodle Texture like this. And then boom, so we're creating our new texture. So actually we'll call this Doodle. All right, so there is Doodle. So it was just created, available right here. You can see the texture over here. Nothing really magical about it. So there you can see it in the world. So why would you want to do this? What's the point of this? Well, ultimately, it is here. And what you see is you can actually, as the name implies, doodle on it. So if you need to create markers or kind of in-game entities, you don't want to drop out to a Photoshop editor to just do like a placeholder texture or something to that effect, you could do these. So basically you could even use these like kind of as sticky notes if you want. By the way, you can set the background color. So here, for example, do I have to clear it? Yeah, so there. So I can set the background color, and again, draw on top of it. And I can also obviously switch out the foreground color that we draw with right here. And I don't think that one, see, that one does not require a clearing. Only the background color does. The other thing is, if you want these to be transparent, you could have done it here. Basically just drop the alpha for the background all the way down, like so, and then clear it. And now you can draw directly and no transparent space. A really handy little utility. So again, if you want to create like stuckum notes or temporary textures, that kind of stuff, that is what Doodle Textures is all about. Another cool one here is this one right here, tile path. So what I'm going to do, come in here, and let's load up the example for that. And basically what it enables you to do is instance geometry along a path. So tile path intro. You can create a tile path by adding a tile path 3D node to the scene, give it a tile mesh, and add some points to the curve, and you're good to go. Try editing the curve of the yellow path. So you see over here, there is the path, and then we could go ahead and change out the curves for it. So which one is edit mode? Select control points all right here. So we can just boom, and you see immediately what it does. So if you need to do pathing in your world, like you need to put down a fence or some cobblestones or something to that effect, you can do that here. So you can change the basic settings, control the appearance of your path, such as mesh, material, spacing, and contour curves. You can randomize the values that are, or the path. So again, if you were, say, doing a cobblestone path and you had different cobblestones, you could have it randomly pick them and change the orientation. You can have it do basic grounding so that it is following a surface, like so. So again, if you're doing things like, roads or fences or etc., this is a perfect tool for placing those entities in your world. Another cool visual one they've got going on over here is this one, lines and trails. Let's drop it in the example here. This one basically adds a new thing called a line 3D. So you can see here, you can add a line by adding a line 3D node to the scene, and then you can edit the line, the points. You can do this at runtime or in the editor. You can choose the material from several built-in material types for your line, or you can use your own custom materials. You can use billboard mode. The view makes the line always face the camera. You can have various different textures applied to your line. You can use tile mode, ratio or distance controls how texture coordinates are incremented along the line. You can have trail info, so you can create a trail by adding a trail 3D node to your scene. Trails are special lines. The points are automatically updated by moving the node itself. It's basically a contour. And then we got limit mode, so limits can be by time or length. pin textures, so trail chords can be pinned to the world instead of incrementing from the start of the trail. And then you can do unbillboarded trails, so a trail with billboard node none will use its y-axis to set the curve normals, and you can do sharp corners as well. Really kind of, again, a really powerful, neat utility that is added as part of this pack. Now this next one is a bit niche, but what you can actually do, so let's go ahead and check out the example on it, is you can kind of communicate with the editor. So let's go ahead and run this one, and I'll show you what I mean. So select current on this one, and then we run this app. What you'll see here is it's got this hookup to Godot. So we can do minimize, restore, or maximize the editor. So I can minimize the editor, maximize the editor, restore the editor, and so on. So you can actually control the editor from your code. It's, again, very niche in terms of what you'd want to do with that, but kind of a neat capability there. And then we've got two more here. This one, Preview 2D, enables you in a 3D scene to look at your 2D in a preview. And then this one is probably the neatest, but I gotta admit also the buggiest of the options here. This one is the parallel scenes. This one is available right here. And what this enables you to do is open up multiple scenes. So for example here, and you generally can't do this. So let's say here I've got 3 viewports going on. So 1, 2, and 3. I can now come here, I can pick one, and I can actually come in here and pick the scene to show there. So here, there is our area lights, and then we got, I think this will be 2, so then I can come back up here and go 2, and then let's pick a different demo scene. So which one also has a scene? Light shafts. Let's just open up light shafts over here, and then I could do it for another one. So basically you can have multiple scenes open at the same time. Now, until you actually make a change and save to the scene, it won't update. So you really only have one active, and I do have to admit, when I've played around with this in the past, it has turned Godot very unhappy. So there can potentially be some things going on here that Godot was never meant to do and isn't happy doing with multiple scenes open. But if you want to have multiple scenes open, that is what this enables you to do. It's a very cool extension for the engine. And then we got a bunch of other stuff here. We've got 9 patches being implemented via meshes, procedural texture baker, transform clusters, control proxies, and so on. So there's some really cool things here. Like I showed you at least about half of them. You get an idea of what is in this pack. Again, everything we just saw today is free. It is completely and utterly open source. Again, if you do like the author's work here, do be sure to head on over to his page, drop him a star, because they always do appreciate that. It helps expose the repository to more people. But some really cool things here for sure. Again, this one here, the parallel scenes view, it can be a little bit problematic, but by far and away, my favorite one here, the one that I would use more often, is this guy right here. This Gizmo control ability to create presets, delete presets, apply presets, or toggle everything on and off. That, again, is one of those things I honestly think should just be built into the Godot game engine. More and more when I run into these plugins that do usability things like this, every once in a while I find things go like, yep, that should definitely be built in. And over time, a lot of them are. For example, now we have camera previews built in. That was often implemented via plugins. Gizmo presets, I would love to see this one get built in. So ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of that set of plugins? Have you used them? Are you going to use them? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you've got another plugin you would recommend that I profile on this channel, do let me know, and I'll do my best. All right, that's it. I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.